You know that moment. You're replaying a conversation you already should have let go of. She laughed a little longer than usual. She remembered something tiny you told her 3 weeks ago. She texted you after she got home, not because she had to, but because somehow the night felt unfinished without one more line from you. And now you're lying there staring at the ceiling, phone in your hand, going over every word like it might mean more than it seemed to in the moment. And your mind starts doing what your mind always does. Am I reading too much into this? Is she just being nice? Why does this feel different? Why do I care this much already? Is she pulling closer? Or am I just hoping she is? Here's the truth most people completely miss. A woman usually doesn't realize she's falling for you in one big cinematic moment. Not in the confession, not in the obvious flirting, not in some dramatic late-night speech. It happens much quieter than that. It happens when her nervous system starts feeling safe with you before her mind has even caught up enough to call it love. So if you've been feeling like something is shifting, but you can't quite name it, you're not crazy, bro. You're not imagining chemistry that isn't there. And this is not about playing detective with every little thing she does. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the 7 subtle things she does when she's genuinely falling for you without fully realizing it yet. And more importantly, how to recognize the difference between surface-level interest and something real. Let's get into it. The mindset reframe. Most people believe falling for someone looks obvious. Big signals, clear pursuit, 1,000 hearts in the text, constant intensity. But the real truth is deeper than that. Real attachment usually shows up in the body before it shows up in language. Her nervous system is reading you before her mind can explain you. That means the first signs are rarely loud. They're subtle shifts in safety, presence, softness, and emotional availability. Most people in relationships think love grows through more effort, more texting, more proving, more pushing, more trying to lock it in. But here's what nobody explains. When someone is truly falling for you, the energy usually gets less performative and more real. The walls don't drop all at once. They lower an inch at a time. Because when she feels safe, she stops managing the moment so hard. She stops curating every response. She stops trying to seem unaffected. And that's why these signs matter. They're not just behaviors. They're patterns. They're unspoken signals that something beneath the surface is changing. This isn't about decoding women like a puzzle. This is about learning to notice what emotional connection actually looks like in real life. Not the movie version, the human version. Messy, quiet, real. And here's what changes everything. When you understand these signs, you stop chasing intensity and start recognizing genuine emotional movement. That's where real connection begins. 1. She remembers the small things you thought she missed. Here's the part no one talks about. When a woman is falling for you, her attention starts attaching to the little details of who you are. Most people in relationships focus on the big gestures, the birthday plan, the date night, the compliments. But most couples miss the fact that emotional bonding often shows up first in memory. Not because she's trying to impress you, because your words are starting to matter to her nervous system in a deeper way. When she feels connected, she doesn't just hear you, she stores you. The coffee order, The story about your brother. The song you said you used to play on repeat during a hard year. That's not random. That's attachment beginning to form. A woman who isn't emotionally moving toward you might say, "Wait, what do you do again on Fridays?" A woman who's quietly falling might say, "Hey, good luck with that meeting today. I know you said Fridays are always a lot for you." Same conversation, very different level of presence. And inside her, something unspoken is happening. Her brain is quietly registering, "I care about how his world feels when I'm not around." That's not just interest, that's emotional imprinting. And when that starts happening, the space between you begins to feel less casual and a lot more like connection. 2. Her energy gets softer around you. This is where it gets really interesting. One of the clearest signs she's falling is not that she gets louder, it's that she gets softer. Most people think attraction is all spark, all teasing, all chemistry, all edge. And yes, that can be part of it. But most couples never figure out that when someone feels increasingly safe with you, their energy often becomes less defended, less polished, less guarded, more warm. Because safety changes tone. When she feels uncertain, she performs. When she feels safe, she settles. Her body loosens. Her responses linger. Her presence becomes less about impressing you and more about being with you. You'll feel it in small moments. She leans in instead of scanning the room. Her voice relaxes. Her eye contact gets steadier. The conversation stops feeling like a tennis match and starts feeling like home. The disconnecting version sounds like this. "Yeah, that's crazy," while she's half on her phone, half somewhere else emotionally. The connecting version sounds like this. "Wait, tell me that part again." And now she's fully there, smiling in that quiet way that says she's not just hearing your story, she's entering it. Not more performance, not more flirtation, not more perfectly timed texts, but more ease, more softness, more real presence. And when that happens, you stop feeling like someone trying to win her over and start feeling like someone she can finally exhale around. 3. She starts letting you see the unpolished version of her. And this is the one most people never figure out. A woman who is falling for you often stops trying so hard to seem unaffected. Most people in relationships think closeness is built by showing your best self, your funniest side, your most attractive side, your most composed side. But the real truth is that attachment deepens when someone feels safe enough to be slightly unedited. That's when you know something deeper is becoming real. She might show you the tired version of her, the insecure version, the overwhelmed version. Not in a dramatic way, in a human way. She forgets to be on all the time around you. Why does that matter? Because emotional intimacy is not built when someone is admired from a distance. It's built when they feel seen up close and still feel okay. That's huge. A woman who's still protecting herself might say, "I'm good, don't worry about it," even when she's clearly off. A woman who's slowly falling might say, "Honestly, I had a rough day, and I don't even know why I'm this emotional right now." That sentence matters, because what she's really saying beneath the surface is, "I'm risking being real with you." And in her inner world, there's often a quiet thought moving through her. I don't feel like I have to hold everything together in front of him. This isn't a communication hack. This is what it looks like when someone is becoming emotionally available without even realizing it. And when she lets you see the unpolished version, the relationship stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like a place where both of you can actually land. 4. She finds reasons to pull you into her ordinary life. Here's what most people get wrong. They think love is proven in the big moments, the trips, the labels, the dramatic talks about the future. But here's what nobody explains. Real attachment often shows up first in the ordinary, in the errands, in the "come with me," in the tiny invitations that don't look romantic on paper but mean everything emotionally. Most couples overlook this because they're trained to value intensity over integration. But when she's falling for you, she starts weaving you into the normal fabric of her life, not just the curated moments, the boring ones, the real ones. She asks you to come with her to grab groceries. She sends you a picture of something small that reminded her of you. She calls you on the drive home. She wants your presence in moments where there's nothing to perform and nothing to prove. The distant version sounds like, "I'm running out for a bit. Talk later." The connected version sounds like, "I'm heading to Target. Keep me company?" Same errand, different emotional meaning. Because when she includes you in the ordinary, what she feels is often this: his presence makes normal life feel better. And man, that matters more than people realize. Intimacy isn't built in the giant moments. It's built in the 30-second ones, when someone starts turning toward you without needing a reason. That's the shift that makes a connection stop feeling occasional and start feeling woven into real life. 5. Your distance starts affecting her more than she expected. This one is subtle, but powerful. Most people in relationships assume someone is falling only when they move toward you. But another sign is what happens when they feel you move away, even slightly. When she's emotionally invested, your withdrawal lands differently. A slower text, a colder tone, a distracted energy. She notices. Not because she's dramatic, because attachment creates sensitivity. Your nervous system is like a smoke detector in connection. It cannot always tell the difference between actual rejection and emotional distance. So when your energy shifts, hers often does too. That's why these cycles get so intense so fast. A woman who's not that emotionally in it might just keep it moving. A woman who's falling might say, "Hey, are you okay? You feel a little off today." Or she'll get quieter, or slightly withdrawn, or oddly more attentive. Because something in her is checking, did I lose him a little just now? Most couples misread this moment. They call it neediness, they call it moodiness, they call it overthinking. But often, beneath the surface, it's simply emotional investment meeting uncertainty. Not clinginess, not drama, not too much, but the nervous system responding to possible drift. And when you understand that, you stop treating her reaction like a problem to manage and start seeing it as proof that your presence has started to matter in a real way. 6. She becomes curious about your inner world, not just your life. And here's what changes everything. Surface attraction asks what you do. Deeper attachment starts asking how you are. Most people can be interested in your schedule, your hobbies, your plans, your stories. But most people in relationships don't move into real intimacy until they become curious about the emotional world beneath those facts. That's a different level of connection. When she's falling for you, she wants to know what shaped you, what gets to you, what you don't say out loud, what you need when life gets heavy. Because she's interviewing you. Because she feels the beginning of longing. The desire to know you, not just spend time with you. The shallow version sounds like, "So, how was your day?" The deeper version sounds like, "You said that meeting drained you. Was it the pressure, or was it who you had to be in that room?" That question hits different, because now she's not just gathering information, she's making contact. And in that moment, your inner world starts feeling less invisible. Her unspoken thought may be, "I don't just want his attention. I want access to what he doesn't show everyone." This is where a lot of men miss what's happening, because they're looking for obvious signs. But real emotional connection often looks like better questions, longer pauses, more presence, and a woman who actually wants to understand what he feels when nobody else is around. And when she starts reaching for your inner world, the walls between you begin to come down without either of you having to force it. 7. She starts imagining you in her future without meaning to. This is the deepest one. And honestly, this is the one you really need to notice. Most people think future talk has to be formal to mean something, a big label conversation, a serious "what are we" moment. But that's not usually how it starts. It often begins in passing, in accidental inclusion, in language that reveals her heart is already making room for you before she has fully admitted it to herself. She says things like, "You'd love this place in the summer," or "We should try that sometime," or "You have to meet my friend. You two would get along." Small lines, but they carry a big emotional truth. Because when someone begins imagining your place in future moments, it means you're no longer just an experience she's having in the present. You're becoming part of the picture in her mind. And that shift is massive. The disconnected version sounds like, "That looks cool," and the moment ends there. The connected version sounds like, "We should go there when it gets warmer." 2 extra words, whole different emotional direction. And here's the internal monologue most people never hear. "Why do I keep picturing him in places he hasn't even been yet?" That's not accidental. That's attachment moving from chemistry into meaning. This isn't about pressure. It isn't about rushing. It isn't about trying to force commitment out of someone before they're ready. It's about recognizing that when she starts naturally placing you inside her future, even in tiny ways, she's no longer just enjoying you. She's becoming attached to you. And that's the shift that turns affection from a moment into something with roots. So no, this isn't a checklist for decoding every text she sends, and it's not a trick for figuring women out. This is about becoming the kind of person who can recognize real emotional movement when it's happening, instead of confusing chaos with connection and intensity with love. Because when you understand these signs, you move differently. You stop chasing what is loud. You start noticing what is sincere. You stop trying to manufacture closeness. You start protecting the safety that lets it grow. These aren't just signs that she's falling. They're signs that something real is being built, between two nervous systems learning they can stop bracing and start turning toward each other. And when you internalize that, you don't just become better at reading love, you become better at creating it. Real intimacy doesn't begin when someone finally says how they feel. It begins the moment both of you feel safe enough to stop hiding it. If this hit you in the chest a little, let me know in the comments which one you've seen before but didn't have words for. And if you want more honest relationship content like this, subscribe, because we're going deeper into the patterns, cycles, and emotional truths that actually make love last. If you want, I can also turn this into